Alright, let's all just suspend our disbelief for just a moment. Not because Kirby was just hit by his own dream, but because that Waddle Doo was wielding a hammer, and that is just unrealistic. Now, I'd just like to make note, every time you restart the game, you actually go back to the default number of lives, which is kinda lame, but, you know, it's Kirby. Am I really going to die 3 times in a row? Anyway, here we have a new ability, Parasol, which is, it's not bad, I guess. Goes without saying that you can hit things. If you're in midair, you can float down gently, which is useful maybe 1 time in the game. And you can also protect yourself from falling objects, such as that coconut, which is useful maybe 4 or 5 times in the game. And I'm being very lenient with the word useful. I'm not the biggest fan of actually using parasols, so you know what, I'm just gonna ditch it. Oh, I guess I'll pick up Sword, but just a word about those parasol enemies. You can kill them, but the parasol will float away, and because they are apparently sentient, possibly parasitic, they will float up and then try to viciously murder you, such as that parasol right there. Man, that thing was out for blood. Had murder in its non-existent eyes. Aw, isn't that cute? That was a brave little Waddle Dee. Tried to jump for me. Didn't work, but whatever. Anyway, here we have Tornado, which, not my favorite ability, but other people really do like it. Mainly because it gives you a lot of invincibility frames, although they did cut down on those in Nightmare Dreamland. You see, whenever Kirby exits his animation, you used to be invincible while doing that in Kirby's Adventure, but yeah, they nerfed it a little bit in this game. I'm gonna ditch it because I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm not the best at controlling it, but if you can control it well, it's not that bad. All you really do is just press B and you'll just start flying, and you can rapidly tap B or A to go upwards. But anyway, here we have our second minigame, which I was terrible at this game when I was a kid. The reason being is, I sort of paid attention to what the AI was doing, basically just bobbing up and down, and I thought, oh, that's what I have to do. I just have to rapidly tap A, and that'll somehow work, even though it's not working for the AI. So then I tried rapidly pressing the A button, which led me nowhere. Yes, I followed the example of a level 1 AI. I wasn't very bright when I was a child, but yeah, it's easy enough. Just hold A and then let it go whenever you're near a black rail. Hold it down again when you're over it, and if you hold or let go of the A button close enough to the rail, you'll actually get a small burst of speed, which is useful at later levels. Anyway, oh, hey, I know this song. This is actually the theme of a later level in the game, but we'll be getting into that later. I do know, however, that it actually signals a change in scenery right here. See? Warp Star. And it also means we'll be getting a new ability. And now we're in a desert. Yeah, I know, not the most tropical-themed tropical area, but hey, you know, it's a desert island. We'll go with it. So, here we got the wheel mini-boss. He'll ride back and forth and try to throw other little wheels at you. It's not threatening. Should be obvious what this guy gives you. Clearly, he gives you a cat ability. Okay, obviously he doesn't. He gives you Wheel, which is a very situational ability. Basically, you just press B and you turn into a wheel. Now, you can turn around in this game, however, you can't jump like you can in the later Kirby games, so it's really not too terribly useful. Again, very situational. You'll only really use it when the game gives it to you. Plus, you know, it's a platformer. I wouldn't exactly want an ability to, oh, I don't know, shove myself headlong into a pit. That doesn't seem like the brightest of ideas. So yeah, I'm gonna ditch it. It can be useful for bosses, though, especially if the boss doesn't float in the air or hang around in the corner. Other than that, though, it's not too bad, because you can get a hit and run, and you're invincible during the animation, so it can be kind of useful. Anyway, normally I wouldn't redo minigames, but I'm gonna redo Bomb Rally because I kind of was terrible last time. Dishonored my entire family by losing after only one guy exploded. And this really isn't a difficult minigame, especially at level 1. Kirby's are very, very slow, and while this game does speed up, it doesn't do so for a little while, and on level 1, the bomb really won't go that fast. See, that Kirby was hardly paying attention, but then again, you know, I wouldn't think they're that bright in the first place, because again, they created a game where you have to hit a bomb with a pan and murder each other with it. You know what they say, 1,000 Kirbys, 1,000 years, they'd still make Bomb Rally. But I won this time. See? Easy enough. The levels do increase later on if you go back to them, or I think they just go to level 2 automatically later on, but they don't make that big a difference other than small AI differences, and again, as I said, speed differences. And whoa! Check out that awesome application of the Parasol ability! Whoa! How else would I have made it across that gap? Oh, there it goes. It sure was, it was a thing. Oh, but I do recognize this area, actually. We'll be getting a new ability, I think, in this room. Let's just see. Yep! Should have ditched sword before. Okay, this is actually... Nope, wrong. Okay, that could have been terrible. Alright, well, luckily, though, it wasn't, and we got UFO, which is a fairly useful ability to say the least. As it said, we got 4 different moves. You press the B button, and you'll just do that sweepy thingy. Hold down B, and you'll get different lasers. The only one you really want to use is this giant laser, which can fire through walls and other enemies. It is very, very nice, although the small laser is good for long-distance attacks, but yeah. Anyway, you might be wondering why I was freaking out about this thing earlier. Well, UFO is a powerful ability, but, thing is, back there, you probably noticed by now that, if you get hit or ditch your ability, the little star will come out, and if you suck it back in, you regain the ability. Now, the thing is, if you try to get a new ability while the old ability is still there, and you accidentally suck in the old ability will actually take priority over the newer one. So, if I had accidentally sucked Sword back in, I would have gained that instead of UFO, which would not have been a good thing. Now, you might be thinking, well, the respawn rate is pretty good, right? Yeah, normally the respawn rate is pretty good, and enemies will just come in after you move off the screen, like this Bronto Burt here, who is fairly annoying. However, again, UFO is fairly powerful, or at the very least intended to be extremely so, and while UFOs might respawn if you exit the level, they don't respawn normally like other enemies, so if you kill or eat them, yeah, they're gone. You miss out on them, which would suck. Oh, hey, it's Meta Knight. Now, if you were playing Kirby's Adventure, you would actually see him earlier. He actually gave you the invincibility candy we got back in Vegetable Valley, but I guess they just removed that because, I don't know, it didn't make that much sense. But anyway, this is the first time you see him here, and he'll summon his minions, which, actually, they are a little stronger than most enemies, because, as you can see, a few of UFO's attacks aren't actually killing them in one hit, and indeed, most abilities will actually have to hit them multiple times to actually kill them. However, they are pretty easy because eating them will still kill them in one hit, so it's generally better to come in here without an ability because you can just eat them all, but I'd prefer to keep UFO because, you know, it's an unwritten rule that I have to keep UFO for the entire stage because it's a powerful and rare ability. However, after you finish a stage, it will actually disappear. See? It's gone. We don't have it anymore. Which is a shame, but what do you expect? It's the most powerful ability in the game. They gotta balance it somehow. And do we get anything new? Okay, we get Laser. We got in Fire, so I don't need to show that off, but this actually isn't exactly the most opportune time to really get Laser. As the game says, Laser will ricochet off slopes. Now, I don't think it'll ricochet off certain slopes, like if they're corners or something. There are just some tiles that I think won't actually reflect the laser, even though they look like they should, but I'm not quite sure on that. I don't always remember what surfaces it can bounce off of, but that's kinda useful because it might hit an enemy above it or something like that, but it's not that useful for enemies because it's kind of hard to hit things with it. I'm not that good with it, although it is very useful for large enemies. For example, most bosses. It is very good with bosses even though it doesn't do that much damage to them. Despite its tiny little hit range, it can hit large enemies fairly easily, so it is useful for those situations. I do like it because it's one of the few long-distance things you actually get in the game. Can't think of many others that have its range. But we also have stone here. Now, as it says, you can't be invincible with stone. However, the thing is, that's your invincibility. Whenever you turn into a stone, you can't move. And I kind of botched that right there, so I don't really care for stone that much. I prefer moving and hitting things, and I thought he was going to jump over me, actually, but yeah. Anyway, this mini-boss is actually kind of rare within the series. I think this is actually the only game he appears in, but he actually gives you Makirbia, which is slightly more common than him, though I think in later games you actually get this from an enemy. Now, as the game says, you can use it 3 times, however, it is basically Crash, except it can be used 3 times. So yes, it is better than Crash. However, it is a bit more rare, and, you know, basically it has the same problems as Crash, only it's slightly more useful because, you know, you can use it less, but again, you don't really want to use it in place of other abilities given it's, you know, only a temporary ability. I just prefer to use it up right then and there, rather than, you know, actually wasting potentially good abilities. Also, this is actually where laser is introduced, and it's a much better introduction here because you can actually see it in action, and it is fairly useful. Ah, see? That was one of its rare uses, and... Okay, Waddle-Doo, you think you're better than me, and I just realized, why did I come here for a pet brew? That's not useful at all, I'm at full health, I don't need that thing. Oh, that's the end of the stage. Now, that's stage 4, right? So, we're at the end of the world, you might be saying? Well, actually, no. Vegetable Valley only has 4 stages. Ice Cream Island has 5. And even then, that's actually not the normal amount of stages. And oh, hey, we have our first battle arena. Now, arenas are useful for 2 things. Maximum tomatoes, as it says there, and for getting rare abilities from mini-bosses. Well, they might not necessarily be rare. Actually, most of them are. Other than Wheel, I don't think any of the abilities you get from mini-bosses can actually be gained from enemies. Like Freeze, I'm pretty sure you can't get Freeze from anything else. Also, I forgot to show off its description earlier, so there it was. You can read it in all its glory. Alright, I remember this section, but because level sections in Nightmare and Dreamland can be kinda disjointed, I don't remember the level as a whole. These cannons can be kind of annoying, though. Not that annoying, though. Okay, now I need that pet brew. By the way, if you haven't noticed by now, those restore 2 health instead of, well, all of it. Is this useful here? I think wheels are useful here. Well, let's just check. Might as well, right? Oh, sure, fine. I'll jump over the ledge then. Oh, we have a ability right there. It's not a very good one, but it's an ability nonetheless. I guess I'll show it in just a sec. I didn't need that pep brew. Game, why do you keep giving me those? I don't need them. Alright, well, I guess I'll just go over here to get a useless ability. And I do mean useless. It's given some use in later Kirby games, but, here... Wow, did I really just do that? Anyway, here, it's not useful in this... Okay, come on, really? That didn't respawn it. Wow, I can't believe I'm going to the trouble to get this guy. Seriously, I'm going to the trouble to get the sleep ability. Why do I even bother? Oh, this was a terrible time to get it, actually. Anyway, yes, Kirby will sleep. Do not suck in these enemies because you are vulnerable. Kirby was just about to wake up, but I got hit anyway. Well, served me right for showing that sleeping form off. I could probably get it later anyway, and in a less dangerous environment, but whatever. I vaguely remember... Oh yeah, this is where metal blocks are introduced. Metal blocks are pretty strong and can't be destroyed by most forms. I can think of at least 2 off the top of my head that can destroy them, and we're given one right here. Burning, of course, is very useful, and, well, you know, it should be obvious that burning is used here, because, look, it's perfect for the situation. And of course, invincibility frames. Did that seriously just happen? But of course, that was all just a clever ploy to show off the fact that whenever you die, you respawn where you last entered the room. Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I did that to show that off, because, let's be honest, where else would I show that, I don't think I would, and in fact, I almost did it a second time just to reinforce the idea. And I almost did it a third time just for the hell of it, but I decided not to because, it would take up too much time. Anyway, here we have high jump. Most people dislike this ability because all you do with it is, well, jump, but I actually kind of like it. Obviously, it's built for these vertical, well, actually, the vertical areas are built for high jump, but you get the point. But I don't actually think it's too bad otherwise, really. It can be a little difficult to hit certain things, but it's really not as that bad. At the very least, it's not as bad as most people say it is, I think. And that is the end of this world. Alright, so, we have the boss here. Should I go in with high jump? We have freeze, laser, and fire to choose from, but I don't think they'd really be that useful, so, you know what, I'm gonna go in with high jump. Why not? Alright, this is Paint Roller. Honestly, he's probably the most difficult boss in the game. He's not that difficult, but at the same time, he's fairly erratic, and it's really difficult to predict if or where he's going to move, if at all, really, because he can pretty much go anywhere. See, he could have jumped up and gone left, and he is very tricky to dodge. He's not too bad, though, and of course his paintings do give you abilities, such as Mike. Yes, you can actually swallow those mics to get the ability, and you can use it against him, although I don't think it does that much damage, but still, it's 3 free hits against him, it's kind of, well, useful. That's all there is to say about it, really. But otherwise, Paint Roller's not that bad. So, that's the end of that. Painting is dead, long live dance.